it's doing its thing. It's going live, as it were. Give it a
All right.
second. Let it catch up.
Going
All right,
live.
nice profile picture, Vernon.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's actually an older picture. It was posted on Instagram like almost a year ago.
I can tell by the beard. I can tell by the shortness of your beard in that picture.
Yeah. If anybody actually saw that picture and then they see this podcast, they're gonna be like, "Oh, he fucking lied. That's not from today. What is this? What is this? This guy needs to stop doing
Isn't
that."
that the classic problem with like Tinder and shit?
I mean that's the thing, right? Is like I'm actually skeptical that anybody looks the way they say they do on the internet at this point. That's
Right.
Dude,
So my goal is
you're hitting the nail right on the head with that.
I'll just put up pictures of me like this, with a cat on me and like messed up hair and just schlumpy looking in general.
This is what you get, okay? I mean,
that's so funny.
Well, then when I
I
show
love
up,
you when I look like this, or you will never love me.
Scott looks exactly like he says he does, though.
This
Hot.
is true.
Just fucking hot
Scott's beautiful.
all the time.
Oh, you guys are making me blush.
Can I make you throb
Oh, man.
while I'm at it?
It was a good
But
intro.
ironically,
It was
I
a good
never
intro.
had any luck on Tinder, so.
Well, you know how it goes. This is the Once for Real Variety Hour. This is episode number
Oh, is that
27.
how we started it?
Yeah, it was a good intro. It's a good intro, right?
I forgot we were already live.
You're
Yeah.
fine. You're fine. So, yeah.
Talking about Tinder and
Yeah,
shit.
number 27. And up at the top of the hour at 9 o'clock, we're going to be joined, I believe, by John Sampson for what I've now tagged the What is Bahai special.
What is Bahai Special?
I couldn't remember the name of it until you said that just now, so thank you.
It's what you get on April 20th of every year. Bahai.
Bahai. Yeah. Yes, I see. I see the truth of your statement.
Hey,
Ah.
there it is. To clarify, as Nathan needed to know earlier, John is not the all-knowing leader of this religion. Although if he was, I bet I'd follow him.
He has a lot of wisdom, but he is not the leader.
Yeah.
I think
Sounds
that
like
guy
he
has
knows
passed
some
on. It was dated back to the early 1800s that it had
Wow.
originated.
No kidding. 1800s?
Yeah,
That's pretty.
so it's a fairly new religion.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's fairly new, but that's old still.
Yeah, it's old.
It's simultaneously old and new.
Yeah,
That's
It is.
right.
for a
Yeah,
religion.
because it's like it's not an ancient religion, so it's not like 2,000 years old. So it's like a conglomeration probably of a lot of those principles. They probably find their way into it in some way, shape, or form. And then it's like also
Yeah.
new enough that like old enough that it's not like in the same level as Mormonism or like Scientology or like Jehovah's Witnesses. They're all in like the like 1900s for sure. Like
Is that really 1900s? I didn't know that.
yeah, they're generally like less than 100 years old. Scientology is like 40 years old or something. That's L. Ron Hubbard. He was like a science fiction artist that just passed away like less than 20 years ago. So it's like
Whenever you mention Scientology, I think of Tom Cruise.
yeah,
And,
no,
like,
everybody does. They've done a good job of labeling Tom Cruise as the Scientology guy. That's who we imagine.
That guy.
Yeah.
And then it makes me envision that scene from, I think it was Oprah, where he goes fucking insane and starts like climbing
yeah.
the couch and just like,
Yeah. He's a weird
like I'm in
fucking
love
guy.
with this woman, and like he's on
He's-
freaking.
He's crazy, man. I mean, legitimately, I think Tom Cruise is a little insane.
Yeah, a lot of actors are. So
Yeah, that's what years of coke addling your brain will do, right?
I
After
guess
you're
so.
like 20 years deep into a 30-year career. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
that'll fuck with your head. That will fuck with your head. I can imagine just
Yeah.
like trying to be a different character and just like going out of your character.
Constantly, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about acting at one point or another.
I did too.
Yeah. I legitimately think that you could do a decent job doing it, Scott. You have like the personality
Thank
for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does it come out in my my video?
Dude, the Instagram post was like so perfect. I legitimately love those. The advertisements. Which Nathan, when are you getting your Instagram? You just go
Maybe
make
we
a
should just
fucking
do it
account.
tonight.
You can turn notifications off and it's like it doesn't exist.
Maybe I'll do it tonight after we're done.
Oh
Right.
shit.
Text
Join us for the
me
after
whatever.
party when Nathan creates his
Yeah.
fucking Instagram account.
I create.
I honestly do the same thing with Facebook. I just pretend it doesn't exist because I don't look at notifications. I don't do anything except go on here in Facebook Messenger.
I don't blame you. I fucking hate this website sometimes.
Yeah,
it is.
I got rid of my icon. Actually, I'm trying to do the same thing. I just.
Oh, really?
If I want to look at Facebook to check something, I'll just go onto my browser on my phone and just check it there.
Oh, so it's horrible and you don't want to keep using it. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and I noticed too that all the notifications that I get are useless, except for like the occasional thing where like but it's only if I actually post something.
Yeah.
That's the only time that I actually care about what is being done on Facebook. The rest of the time, I was just like, God, I'm so much happier.
Yeah,
like,
you're just like, I don't need any of this. No, I totally get that.
Especially when presidential candidate shit comes around.
Yeah, when politics happen.
That was the point where I stopped using Facebook at some point.
Yeah, I just turn it off now. I'm just like, nope, moving
I'm
on.
done.
Yeah.
And then I went back for a short split second, and then I saw all the crap that I was, missing,
like,
basically.
God, no, I'm not doing any of this.
Well,
yeah.
Great. I'm glad I stayed off it for these past 3-4 years.
I don't blame you, man. It's been a hectic and chaotic 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna say something I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah. I starred in 2 different videos Dane produced. Like at one part he wanted to do like cinematography and all that type of stuff.
Did you?
Nice.
Yeah. I was actually started that.
You are an actor then, Scott. You have it.
Actor.
You're the talent, man.
You're an acclaimed actor. You're a star.
You're a star,
movies you might think differently, honestly. Yeah, I was a star, but I'm not very good star in one of them at least.
Well, it's okay because you're still a beautiful star.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I need to share this thing. I didn't share it out on my public page yet.
I just shared it. That's what I was doing when I was ignoring you guys.
I was trying to fix I just set up boot camp on my MacBook so I could play Final Fantasy 11 all the time.
Nice.
and in the process of doing that, dude, you need to go. Dog's being annoying.
Which one's 11? Which one is that? I can't remember.
Final Fantasy 11 was an MMO that came out in like 2007 or 8. Sorry, no, it was earlier. That was like 2004 when it released. But I'm playing on a server that takes place in what would be like 2007, so it's a private server somebody has set up, and super illegal, but it's super fun. So.
Oh, I'm glad you admitted it on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
I'm not the one hosting it. They just have a client out there, and I'm playing it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, like I played Final Fantasy 7, and it was a great game, and I played a little bit of 8. And my brothers, I saw them, playing 9 and 10, but I don't remember which one 11 is. What's like the story with that one?
So,
besides there being
dude, I wish I could fucking tell you what the story of Final Fantasy 11 is. So it's the MMO. So there's like 1 billion quest lines, billions of. V said it came out in May of 2002. Oh, god damn, I was young. I was like 4th grade when that game released.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Ellie, go lay down, bud. Go. Stop, dude. Doing it. She's doing the thing I said she was gonna do.
Doing the thing.
So my dog's being super fucking annoying this week. I may at some point have to deal with her.
Yeah, I hear her crying.
Yeah, she's still going, man. She's still fucking going.
Yeah.
You're about to go back and get home. Go lay down.
It's like she's got no one else, man. You're it.
I don't give a fuck. That's the thing. She needs to fucking get over it. That's where I'm at, man. It's fucking. She needs to quit fucking busting my balls about this. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm so far past over it. Listen to her. She's getting louder because I'm not paying attention to it. She's
you're just
progressively gets worse.
Person that I know,
so fucking crazy. Stop.
So,
she's so like fucking crazy.
You're like a self-warming cotton ball of softness and love.
I prefer if you describe me as I'm soft in the same way a pincushion is.
And every time you try to push in the cushion, you stab yourself.
You figured it out.
Got it, Scott.
You got it, Scott.
You did it. Good job, bud.
That one didn't slip by him.
Nothing gets by this guy, huh?
Yeah, kiss my ass.
I imagine Scott sometimes as do you guys ever watch Guardians of the Galaxy? Well, Scott, I know you've watched Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
You've watched the
Yeah.
exact scene with me, actually. The part where he's like, nothing goes over my head. I am too fast. that's Scott sometimes. It's like, oh, that's because of this. I love it, man. It's fine. We're only comparing you to Dave Bautista, so there's worse people to be compared to. That guy's awesome.
It's not the worst.
Yeah, but you're basically calling me a musclehead. Don't like.
Yeah, but you're a lovable musclehead who sings with emotion. That's actually like I think I nailed down your persona. That's it.
Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista.
Dave.
This week's Once Revealed Variety Hour starring Vernon Smith, Nate Budzinski, and Dave Bautista? Question mark.
I don't think Scott liked this very much.
No, he loves it. That's the
I got
center
a
of
story
attention.
for you guys.
So I'll go ahead and ask it. How are you guys this week?
Oh man, so awful. Somebody go first.
Go ahead, Scott. Now that we've made fun of you for about 5 minutes.
He's like, well, it was great until fucking Thursday night when you fucking chuckleheads got on here.
Peanut gallery over here.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a couple different interviews, so that's definitely a good thing since that hasn't been happening a lot.
You think any of those are looking up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the ball's fucking rolling right now.
Balls
man.
fucking rolling. I like it.
Balls
Fucking rolling.
Rolling.
2 of them.
All-
We're doing this number.
all roll.
Dude,
You know,
dog,
there's
stop.
actually. I learned that there are these balls that you can hold in your hand.
Benoit
that,
balls.
What's that?
Benoit balls, right?
Yeah. It's the kind they have these little jangly things inside of them, and you like swirl them around in your hand like this.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what I also learned is that it is impossible to tell somebody about these things without them laughing their ass off.
I already was giggling about it. You were saying, and I was like,
I know. And you know what it is.
I know what they are. I've used them. I
what they
have them. I actually own like a pair of those fucking things that I bought when I was in like a bazaar over in Kuwait. I saw them and I was like looking around for them because I know they're here somewhere. But like I just remember when I got them, I was just like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. Like,
Scott, do you know what we're talking about?
Yeah, I do actually. I've seen those before. The little things.
yeah, they're
you
like
gotta
metal.
follow 'em.
I
The
always-
mask.
I always
Playing.
imagine Christopher Walken playing with them. That's the fucking. I think he's in a like Blades of Fury or something, the movie with the ice skating thing. And I'm pretty sure, like after seeing him in that movie doing the thing, like it just clicked. Those balls are Christopher Walken now.
So funny. Well, like my coworker was trying to tell me about these balls, and I had never heard of it. And so all they could say was, yeah, they're these balls. You hold them in their hand. There's 2 of them, you know, and the goal is to swirl them around so that they don't touch each other. And you do it like you got it like, you know, with the balls, you know, you have a box for them. You can keep the balls in a box. And
They actually do come in a box too.
they do.
Best description of that type of product ever. That should be on a commercial.
Yeah, the balls, you know, in your hand. It calms you down. It feels good.
Calms you down and feels good. Oh no.
Is it actually like a stress reliever?
I
I can
so.
see that.
I think it's like the original fidget spinner, or the fuck those things are called, right? Fidget spinners.
Yeah, something that
Yeah.
Not-
Something to occupy
if your mind is going, it just gives you something to fiddle with.
Yeah, like I
gives
find
you
myself
ball.
right now. I'm rolling a battery in my hand while we talk because it just keeps me
Yeah.
kind of grounded.
Playing with my
kinda low.
nuts.
I'm playing with your batteries.
Yeah.
Playing with my batteries. You got your 1 batteries. I got my double batteries.
So if you try doing that with your own balls, though, then your vas deferens will like get tangled up, and that could be really bad.
Yeah, that's testicular torsion, and that shit fucking hurts.
I feel
You
like
sound
I've had
you
that
know what
before.
this is about, Vernon.
What's that?
You sound like you know. You're
Yeah.
like, God damn it, this was the worst.
Yeah, it's terrible and terrifying. But
How do you guys feel about that after this topic?
What's that?
Some questions. I think we've milked this subject enough to where it's drained.
no pun intended, huh, Scott?
Ah,
Yeah.
So anyway, Scott, what places did you interview at, if you don't mind me asking, if it's okay to ask?
Well, the first place I was actually mentioning on the Facebook Messenger about is Vocal Booth something or other, and they sell
Oh yeah.
like the different like barriers, the sound barriers that you use in a vocal booth, and they have their own vocal recording studio, and it was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I
That
remember you
sounds cool.
talking about that.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, I was
so
talking with
what-
Lou about that.
Yeah, what kind of job would you have working for them? Like actually building the stuff, or you?
Oh, I would just be doing like just front desk work, working with them, which would be cool to actually go back there and help them with that type of stuff.
Right? That'd be cool as shit.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm
they'll
sure
let
you'd
you come
get-
test it. Maybe you could bring in your guitar and stuff and like crank it way the fuck up. And
Right, right. I told them I'm a musician, so this stuff is fascinating to me. So
Yeah.
Well, there you go. They know it's somebody that cares about the job, right?
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
that's a really great opportunity just to learn about, just how sound travels and just learn things
Yeah.
that are beneficial
Yeah.
to what you do anyway.
You get to learn about sound particles.
Sound
sound
particles.
prep. And I'll even mention that to him. I might get fired for saying it, but
'Cause you're like, what? What? I was like, that's
you're
not.
gone.
You're like, no. My friends told me.
It's not what it's saying. Please don't fire me.
Like, see, they're called phonons. They're phonons.
Yeah,
dude.
they're called phonons, man.
I gotta reread that article.
Dude, it
actually,
was
because
so
I-
fascinating. The fact that it was like actually like a thing, basically.
Yeah, like
Sound
I
particles
forgot
are.
how it works though.
Yeah.
Sound phonons.
Yeah, I believe they said phonons are emitted due to the vibrations of an object. So when an object vibrates and it always emits a sound, even if it's like a really, really low frequency sound or very tiny noise. And so basically,
Yeah.
that emission of noise is translated via phonon, which is, I guess, a sound particle. I guess I don't.
Well, like,
fucking crazy.
Is a phonon like a different? Is it its own kind of particle, like a subatomic particle? Like you've got fucking quarks and shit, but then you've got also phonons, and then you got photons and all that, or is it just some other particle that is
Yeah.
being
Yeah, I don't-
pushed out, and it takes on the identity as a phonon? It says, "I'm a phonon."
I'm gonna
know?
tell you two things there. One, I tell to my customers every day at work, which is I'm not a doctor. You are. So however, the second thing I will say is that sounds good enough to me. I like it. Let's go with that.
The thing is, I gave two options and said, "Which one is it?" And you're like, "Yeah, it
It's
sounds
both,
good."
man. Fuck it. Quantum physics, right? It's one if you're not looking, it's one if it's the other.
A or C, which is all the above. So all the above, apparently.
All of the above.
All of the above.
I guess
All of the above.
sound particles. It's our job.
That's their job.
We're learning. Guys,
Let
we're
me-
making a Pepsi
Let's
this
tell you
week.
how that interview went.
A
Nice.
non-sponsored Pepsi Cola.
Sponsoring my brother in his awesome mugs.
Sponsoring
Anyway.
Benjamin Franklin and his quote about beer.
He definitely needs his sponsorship, man. He's definitely with us right now.
I
Does
tell you
that
what,
just-
if the United States government gave me was paying me to use Benjamin Franklin dollar bills, like I'd be down for that job.
I'd be
If
into
they
that.
paid me to use money,
Good job.
we could be sponsored by $100 bills, guys.
We could be sponsored by the United States government. What are we, Metallica?
Is that a thing?
That is that would be the weirdest sponsorship, just like sponsored by a dollar
Have I ever-
bill or
Have I ever told you guys
$100
these theories I have
Sponsored by America.
about like
sponsored by America.
that's what sponsored by America, like Ford trucks.
This is where your tax dollars
$100 bills.
metal.
Fucking hilarious. So I have this conspiracy that like big name rock bands, like big name like rock and metal bands that have like made it in other countries. I have this this theory that they're all sponsored by the United States government and that they're used as like a way to ferry people in and out of countries. Because I mean, like think about how many people go with Metallica somewhere. You know what I mean? Like how many people they pay to ship all their stuff. Think about all the stuff that just gets shipped around all the time that just has like a free pass from a lot of customs because they're just like, oh yeah, Metallica. The fuck, who's gonna look at Metallica stuff, right?
They're too famous to.
So they
to
get that
have a
stuff
bomb
in
on
there.
everything.
Yeah, exactly. So they get that stuff in there, and then they can just drop a person here or there, just continue on their tour. By the time they finish their tour in a foreign country, they just pick the guys up who are done doing whatever operation they're doing, and they get the fuck out of there. I probably know too much already, right? I've said too much. Yeah. I'm gonna get fucking taken out of this. You guys are gonna see a laser through the fucking window. What the fuck is that, Vern? What? When
you said that, just drop a person here or there. It sounds like you're like comparing people to like landmines.
Oh, I mean they are. If you think about it.
There. Right there.
Hey man, if a snake's in the grass, it might bite you, right?
It's exploding. So, let me tell you guys how the interview went.
Oh yeah,
it was extremely awkward in the fact that the guys didn't know what the fuck they were doing. like with an interviewer, they have a set of questions to ask you, and it will start with usually like, "So tell me a little bit about yourself."
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the guy, for one, he had a very strong accent. He was from someplace in India, and like he came in, and he had thankfully another guy in there who could better explain things. But when he came in, so okay, all right, tell me. I was like, tell you what? He's like, oh, just tell us why you want the job. I mean, why you think you should get the job. It was like I'm not even prepared for this. How to answer this question right now, and it was just so awkward. It's like normally when I go to an interview, they have it strategically set up to where it's like, okay, so I'll ask this question about how, tell me a little bit about yourself, and what is your comparison to this job or something like that. But it's just like it was just awkward. I don't.
That would throw me off too. If somebody opened up with, all right, tell me why you want the job. What is it?
Yeah.
What are you here for?
He didn't even say that. He was just like, all right, go ahead. I'm like,
with what, dude? What do you want me to do? What? You're just like, all right, hang on. Do you have a projector? I have a PowerPoint I've prepared. Like, dude, I would have jumped up and made some shit up if somebody did that to me. I'd have been like, I have a USB stick in my pocket right now. I'll just pull it out. Just be like, look, what do you need? You got a projector? I got a PowerPoint for you. Like,
it's like if someone comes up to you on a first date, it's like, all right, so when are we fucking?
That's, dude, yeah. They walk in the room and they're like, all right, how long is it? 6, 7, 8, 9? Fucking really?
Comparison.
Oh, am I going the wrong way?
I don't feel comfortable using those comparisons.
he's like, now I'm just imagining that guy asking me how long my dick is.
Yeah, right. All right, so what do we, like, no. I just came here for a job as an administrative assistant, okay? None of that stuff.
So how do you think it went, despite it being awkward?
I thought it went pretty well. I don't know. I think it went pretty well. Like, I gave him honest answers, pretty straightforward answers, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think they're still searching for other applicants at this point, so that can mean so many different things. But
yeah, that's true. It could just mean they're not even done yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
hope you get it.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool.
Seems like that's a crazy interview, though. I would be very uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. It was very strange, very uncomfortable. It was like it threw me off and like kind of brought me in like some anxiety because I was calm beforehand, and then he asked that question. It was just like, what? Anyways,
why should I get this job? Well, I like making money, and I'll work hard. Suck your dick. You know.
Why do you want it? Well, I have bills and shit. That's
I'm
pretty much it, man. That's all I got.
I actually listed it on here on my booklet here as I wrote in. I just need to pay bills. That's it. Just bills. And
pretty
shit.
much it. I mean,
okay. On to the next question. Thank you.
I really feel like more employers should be cool with that kind of thing, though. Like, if you go into a job interview and they're like, all right, so tell me about yourself. You're like, I need a job because I have no money. That might be enough for most jobs to hire you.
Yeah, well,
put me in, coach. I need cash. That's it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not a bad motivation. I feel like there's a lot of people who are great employees who maybe not hate the job, but they're like, yeah, I don't have any like real stock in this job, but I need to do a good job because I need to make the money and I can't get fired.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like that most of the workforce, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think that
You know?
describes actually probably most people, like myself included. Like if I could do music all the time, that's what I would do. Like I would never at this point in my life choose to do IT forever. Like that's why when I know there's something else out there that makes me way more happy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like why would I ever choose that? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's the moneymaker. That's it. That's literally it. That's all it does. That's all it does for me. Just makes money.
Yeah.
Money
It allows you to survive.
Yeah.
And that's it.
maker.
It's a pretty damn good moneymaker. Not gonna lie. Made some good choices early on.
Yeah. Like I like my job. It's a good job, but also if I could get by without having one, I'd be okay with that.
Yep.
It's
Like-
it's not all it's cracked out to be there, Nathan.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that then. Because I would want to do something. I would want to do creative work. That's my end goal
Yeah.
is to end up doing creative musical work of some kind.
Right.
That's sort of the end goal.
Yeah.
Or
It's a
if
good
it's
end
like
goal.
other kind of way. Like I just something creative, But like,
You're like, fuck it, I could be an artist. You could fucking draw shit and be happy doing it, man. You know what I
I'd
mean?
be happy doing that. That'd be
Right.
cool. If that was what I had to do for work,
Right.
that's not bad.
That's what I'm saying.
I-
That's the kind of stuff that I'm like, man, I just wish I could be there instead of what I'm doing now. You know?
Yeah. But like
I agree. Honestly,
Yeah.
with what I'm doing now, I feel guilty if I try to pursue anything else besides trying to find a job. So it is a lot different than actually just doing something that's like creative, like just writing music or doing paintings or whatever, and actually making money on the side or something like that.
Yeah, when
As
we did our rehearsal on Tuesday, that was kind of how I felt. I was like, man, this is so much more enjoyable than not doing this. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Right.
Early on in the day, I was like, oh man, I gotta go do rehearsal tonight. And then by the time I showed up, I was happy. I was just ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. Same here. Like as soon as I got there, I was like instantly uplifted. Like just like that.
Just
Because,
flip the
like,
switch, man.
Yeah, it was sort of a long day at work compared to other days, and then I had like a vet appointment, and then it sort of came straight to practice, and I was feeling kind of like just tired and a little wore out or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we're thinking about, oh man, I've spent so much money at the fucking vet lately, whatever it is. And then as soon as same thing with variety hour. Like every time we end up doing some kind of band activity, I'm instantly like way better off than earlier in the day.
Same.
Mhm.
Same. Yeah, this is definitely the best part of the week for me. Yeah, the stuff that we
Yeah.
do with the band. If we could do more of it and get away with it, I think we would. That's where that's where I am
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, we could totally
Definitely.
do like song reviews and shit like that. Like listen to new songs and just talk about the different.
You know what?
parts of it.
I've seen this guy Nick Nocturnal. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
Yeah, yeah.
And him along with some other bands, some other YouTubers, they do like these reviews that they show the video of the actual like song that they're listening to in the music video, and they just kind of show them reacting to it at first, and then they go over the music itself and just kind of talk about it. So yeah, I could see us doing something like that, and just like putting in the corner like a video of the actual song, and just kind of sitting there enjoying it. And yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I could actually edit that together pretty easily too. This has become like now you guys are now the audience gets to be part of a band rehearsal. I could actually like just have you guys do the reaction on your own. Like you could watch this thing on like another video thing with like headphones in and record just yourselves a video of your reactions and the things you have to say about it, and then send it to me, and I'll do the same thing. Then I'll kind of edit it all together, and we'll have that sort of reaction style video from the comfort of our own homes. Pick a nice background,
Yeah.
Just like right now, from the comfort of our own homes.
Yeah, Scott, actually, I just looked at your background, Scott. You look like you're not actually there. Like, I think it's just the way that the camera is picking it up, and it looks like you're on a green screen.
Like a green screen behind me.
Yeah, it looks like a painting or something. It's so fucking crazy. I was like, oh shit.
It's all very blue. Like everything in this room is so blue.
But also all of it's like one of those paintings that you do to practice doing perspective where like everything comes into the center.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
It's so perfect.
You're like your background is like a painting practice. That's what it is.
Nathan, we should go get our painting stuff and just paint the background.
Have a Bob Ross
I'm
night.
gonna come over. Go nuts. Here's the canvas, baby.
It'll be the Scott Ross hour.
Scott Ross.
Scott, oh yeah.
I've got the wig. I've got one upstairs.
Right here, do some pitties, and then right here we'll do a whole vagina.
Do a happy Scott. Happy Scott. Boop, 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 boop.
Just a happy little Scott.
Lord.
That's hilarious.
So you guys want to hear a crazy story?
Yeah,
It's kind of crazy.
What do you got?
So earlier I was doing some studying. I'm trying to get more familiar with Excel, and I was just kind of sitting here in this room, just doing my studying, and then I overheard something. It was very loud at first. I didn't realize what the hell it was, and I heard this. And I look out the window, and a lady's getting attacked by a dog.
Oh my god.
A dog like chewing at her foot, and all the while the kids that let the dog out were sitting there laughing at her.
Jesus. What?
That happened, I would call the cops. Something like that happened, I would call the cops.
That's
Yeah.
scary.
Did you call the cop?
It didn't get too far. I mean, it didn't get far enough to where it was terrible. He was just chewing at her foot, and she was screaming. But like, if it got to the point to where she's on the ground and he's like getting at her, tearing her up, of course, yeah, I would definitely call the cops or something.
Dude,
but if it happened to me,
terrifying.
I would immediately call the cops, because I've seen this happen before where these people have let their fucking dog out numerous times, and the dog is not friendly to strangers. So it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Anyway,
It's so dangerous. I mean, like, the other thing too is like if a cop showed up to that, they're just gonna shoot your fucking dog. That's the thing. Like, I feel like that's the thing that needs to be hammered home for people. Is like, cops aren't animal control. They don't give a shit about your fucking pet. So they'll show up and at best maybe they'll try to tase it. But I'm gonna tell you right now, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna blow the fucking dog's brains out. And they're out of dog, man.
It's like, if you're trying to choose, if you're a police officer, you're choosing between a person and their well-being and an animal.
And an animal that they clearly don't know.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
That clearly is being aggressive too.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. It's sad, but I mean that's just reality.
Yeah, I
Annoying
don't.
dogs. I've got this annoying dog behind me, still going.
I know we're sitting here talking about shooting dogs, and you've got this dog whining at you. You're like,
It's fucking irritating. It's so irritating.
Yeah.
I really
Don't
thought
give
she
him
was
my
like,
D.
fucking cops calling me last night. She was like barking at midnight.
Oh,
Really?
geez.
Yeah, dude, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy.
Like,
You said
is she just getting like stir crazy? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. I don't think it's that so much as she's just. I think she's in heat, to be honest with you, and she's fucking losing her mind. Yeah. So dealing with this, where she just keeps going and going, going.
Oh my god,
Get
cats
the
are like
dog.
that when they get in heat too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like when I don't know. I feel like the only way you can compare it accurately is just imagine like a person and they just sit there with their legs open, screaming constantly, "Fuck me!"
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm dealing with this dumbass dog right now. That's all she's been doing for the past like 3 days.
Dude, it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's so annoying. And the cats don't like pee in places too. Yeah, Scott, dude, it's like
Should that be a bit in a porn scene? Fuck me!
Like a cat.
Scott, it probably exists already.
It's probably out there.
Probably.
It's probably
Yeah,
out there.
that's just like dressed in like a fucking cat outfit.
Oh, I didn't want to say it.
Isn't that
I
Rule
didn't wanna say
34,
it.
right? Isn't that Rule 34? If it exists, there's porn of it.
Yeah, that's a rule.
So you spoke it into existence.
That is true.
Yeah.
I've been reading a book that talks about such things.
Yeah.
I was mentioning this before, actually. You guys.
go
Hold on,
outside.
what the
You
fuck
go
kind of book is talking about
you don't.
furries
Go away.
that you're reading?
No, not furries, Nathan. You're just making assumptions now about
what's the
speaking
book
things into existence, basically.
Oh, that's way better.
That's a lot better. I'm glad you changed that. Yeah, I had actually mentioned that a little while ago. The book, what is it? The Habit of... No, that's not how it goes. breaking the habit of being yourself, basically. And it talks about how like
Just fucking attacking.
just speaking things into existence, and like you were talking about like photons and stuff like that, and how like you focus on the photon and it actually will change while you're focusing on it.
Yeah, the observer effect. That's something that
Right.
Vernon talks
Right.
about.
Right, and it's just it goes so deep into the science of it and stuff. And it's very interesting in how that can contribute to like like speaking things into existence and your thoughts and how they can affect you and how it can affect the energy around you and stuff. It's very interesting stuff.
Yeah, well, there's this really powerful connection between even just like it's like a matter of focusing your attention, because like it's like if you're looking for certain things, that's the thing that you're going to end up finding. If you're looking for things that are negative in your life, that are the things that you don't like, or you're looking for stuff in the world that is depressing and
Which there's a lot of that
like
out there.
there's a lot of it out there. It's plenty to find. But like on the other hand, if you shift your focus onto better things, or like just shift your focus onto, I think it's more like if you shift your focus on what you can do to improve your life and make your life enjoyable.
I like that.
Because that's really all.
To a certain extent, but I also feel like there's something stronger than that. This is kind of like far out there, but at the same time, it's something I believe in. It's just like these things. It's more than a coincidence for me when I see certain things happening. Like I've been practicing something lately that's just kind of gotten my mind focused more on the whole job scenario thing. And it's been not even a week that I've been practicing that. And it's kind of all it's happening right now to where I'm already having interviews. And I'm like, this has got to be more than a coincidence. I feel that way. I don't know what you guys feel like, but
I
it's just
definitely agree. Yeah, I've experienced that throughout most of my life.
Mm-hmm. There's things that happen that you're just like, this is more than a coincidence. It seems more powerful than that. It's just
that's exactly what it is. Yeah, more powerful. That's a good way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I tend to agree with that. And I think in order for the universe and physics to function in a way in which we actually have even a sense of free will, there has to be some fundamental link between our will, the way that we focus our attention in ourselves, and fundamental aspects of how matter behaves. Like there would have to be something written into that in order for us to have any sense of free will. There would have to be some fundamental effect some fundamental link between our consciousness and the things that actually physically happen in the world, besides us physically enacting on an object. Like there's a deeper connection between what our consciousness is made of and the world around us.
Right.
There would have to be something like that.
There's science that we don't know. That's that's really what it is, man. There has to be, right?
Yeah. And like it seems like when you do focus your attention on, how can I make a hello,
John.
Hey, how you doing?
Introducing
welcome.
You got in early.
Yeah, I got off a little early. Hope I'm not intruding anything else.
Yeah, you're fine.
That's what your face looks like.
Yeah, there you go.
He's always wearing a mask when I go to physical therapy, so I never know what he looks like. Then I saw his Facebook. I was like, oh, he has a lot more facial hair than I was picturing.
Well, actually, I had the same experience with you. Yeah. So.
I got a little bit of scrubbage there, but
that's outstanding.
Everyone knows exactly how much facial hair I have when I wear a mask or not.
Yeah, it's a tough one to hide.
Yeah.
He actually wears a bandana like an outlaw from the Old West. Like,
I just tuck it
there
in
you
my
go.
shirt like
Yeah.
this.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks.
How you been doing, man?
Oh, good. Yeah, pretty chill day. Had some cancels and stuff. So.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is John Sampson. He's joining us. He's going to be talking about his religion, Bahai. And we don't have to start right now if you don't want to. Or
Whatever. I mean, if you guys are in the middle of anything else, I'm cool with whatever.
No, that's fine.
It's
We can segue
It's
right
funny
in.
that we came in
Right now, if you
exactly-
want,
She
it's
just
fine.
deals with this dog.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, it's funny. You came in at exactly this moment, but we're sitting here talking about how, the way that we direct our attention affects the, the world around us and how we can construct meaning out of that and something. So it's actually kind of a perfect segue for you to just magically show up into the chat.
Oh yeah, you guys summoned me. Yeah, you actually summoned me with your thoughts. Yeah.
some very spiritual stuff we were just talking about, and you happen to come right at that point. So
Yeah,
very
exactly.
ironic.
Just happened to, I don't know.
Happen to.
Yeah, I don't have any magical powers, so it wasn't me. So
We were just talking, just joking about how you were the leader of the Bahai religion. I was like, no, he's not. He has some knowledge of it. But
yeah,
Divine visionary, he's
he's divine.
yeah. I think there's a way too many expectations already set up here, so I don't know what I'm walking into.
Well, no, I had walked away from the phone for a minute to grab something, and all I heard from Scott was something about a divine messenger, and so I sat down. I was like, "Are we having an enlightened being on our little podcast for a metal band?"
Yeah, sorry to disappoint. I'm not all that enlightened, but
Oh, it's all
I'll do what I
good.
can.
I'm really intimidated by that.
This switch, that's quite enlightened in that aspect of things. So
Yeah. So, John, tell us what exactly is Bahai, because I have not heard of this before, and I didn't actually look it up beforehand. So all of this is going to be very new to me.
Okay, that's cool. So the Baha'i faith is a world religion. So the founder of the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, was in Persia in the mid 1800s. The basic premise of it is that all of the major world religions are inspired by the same God. That all of the divine messengers from previous religions, like Abraham, Moses, Muhammad, and Jesus, and Buddha, Krishna, they're all inspired by the same God. And then Baha'u'llah is the most recent of those messengers. So every one of those different religious dispensations has its own particular kind of theme and purpose. It's one unfolding process as we see it, but the main theme of the Baha'i dispensation is like unity, and we feel we're at a point in human evolution where we can attain peace in the world, not easily or quickly, but that's kind of the next stage in human evolution, is the oneness of humanity.
right. I was actually looking at some history of the Baha'i religion and how the struggles that the people who believed in such thing went through during that time frame. I guess it was the early 1800s that it had originated.
Yeah, so it originated in Persia in the mid 1800s, and not the most tolerant atmosphere at that time. Very, very, very extreme situation. So what happened was, the messenger, there's a messenger, kind of like if you're familiar with in Christianity, John the Baptist came before Jesus. He was like the herald, the tell of the coming. There was a similar figure in the Baha'i history. His name was the Bab. And so a lot of Persians like heard about him, and there are all these really profound people who became followers of the Bab, and it kind of was spreading pretty quickly throughout the country. And so a lot of people had a lot of problem with that, right? So they saw it as a threat because Muslims were converting to this new faith, and they saw it as heresy and all that. So there were 20,000 people who were basically martyred or killed, and some of them mutilated in the streets, really gory stuff. So it's pretty complex history there, but that's kind of where it originated from. It was the time when the Bab and the Baha'u'llah come up with this new message of things like the equality of men and women, and the harmony of science and religion, and unity of all religions, and in a situation where that was not everybody was open to that.
I had one question, if I can remember what it was. It's not coming to me right now. Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, I'll ask one. Is there a central text to this? Kind of like Christianity has a Bible, Islam has the Quran. Is there a central text to the Baha'i religion?
So we have multiple texts. So Baha'u'llah wrote quite a bit. So we have a number of books of his writings. As I mentioned, there was a person who came before him whose title was the Bab. The writings of the Bab, and then Baha'u'llah, and then Baha'u'llah's son, Abdul Baha, is an important figure in the faith. So while the kind of the most essential writings come from Baha'u'llah, there are some from these other sources as well.
Nice. It kind of reminds me of how like Buddhism sort of has several texts that are like the teachings of Buddha, as opposed to how Christianity has the one Bible, and anything besides that one thing is just not it, and that's the one thing. So you're saying this is more like you have the teachings of what's his name again?
Baha'u'llah.
Baha'u'llah. Am I saying that
Yeah.
right?
That's it.
So you have the teachings of Baha'u'llah, and that's sort of what the central thing is. So anything you find that is of him, like if they discovered a new thing, they'd be like, oh, so there's more. Awesome.
Yeah. So there's actually like an archives building in Israel. So Baha'u'llah, while he was originally from Persia, he was exiled multiple times and ended up in Israel, and that's where the Baha'i World Center is today. And so they have like these archives buildings with all of his original, well, at least all that they know of his original texts, and a lot of them actually haven't even been translated yet because they're very meticulous on how they translate things, and there's a lot of them. So
naturally,
wow,
yeah.
So it's,
yeah, like I'm sure there's like the more legitimate way to translate it just based on the way that the language, because languages are structured in totally different ways, so that there's certain things you can say in one language that you can't really say in another language just because of the way it's structured, the kind of cultural implications that it has. Though I tend to remember someone telling me that English was a more versatile language in that sense because it was sort of mixed up from other languages. But anyway, I can imagine that would be a big barrier in that. And I know that there's like multiple translations of things like the Bhagavad Gita and things like that. And some people say, no, you got to listen to this Bhagavad Gita. And then the other guys are like, no, it's this other Bhagavad Gita. Well, it's actually the same thing with the Bible too. They're like, oh no, you gotta go with the King James version because that's like the better one. It's just better. And then other people are like, no, New Living Translation. It's better because it's from this version of the Greek. Or
yeah, there's like what,
something.
like 8 or 9 different versions of the Bible now at this point.
Oh, probably way more than that. Actually,
I just mean like the major, like grouped ones. Yeah, there probably are tons more.
I'm going to pull out my app right now. I could probably look at 20.
Seriously, ridiculous. And
yeah, so within
all of them say that theirs is the best. Just like all the different denominations too. Yeah, they're all like, no, we're right. I mean, the Presbyterians, they've got their thing. We love them, but come on, we're right. Or the other guys are like, yeah, the Baptists, they're God love them, God bless their heart, but no, they got some weird beliefs too. Methodists, we got it right,
Yeah.
So I got a question. Do you guys have like any sort of like rituals that you do, like how Catholicism has their certain baptisms and stuff that they're baptized at, like I forget which year it is, like their first year, and how they, something like that. Like, do you guys have any sort of rituals like that in the Baha'i religion?
So there are certain very as a whole, the Baha'i faith is tries to discourage ritualistic kind of things from crystallizing. So like an example of that is like for the marriage ceremony, there's like a very short verse. So the one rule for the marriage, if you get married, is you have to have witnesses, and there's a certain verse you have to say. And beyond that, it's up to anybody to do basically whatever they want. So Baha'i weddings are all over the place because it's basically kind of said like, there's not like a Baha'i marriage ceremony, and it be adaptable to all the different cultures. And we don't want to get like this set idea of like, this is what a Baha'i marriage is, or this is what you do in this situation, because there's kind of an encouragement to get away from too much of a rigid ritualistic kind of approach to things.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's probably prevents a lot of the random infighting like we were just talking about. That's probably honestly what that aims to accomplish too.
Yeah, so
it's a good principle.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said it's just a good principle.
That was always something that turned me off about Catholicism, was just the amount of ritualism that was involved in that religion. It's just there's no worship. It's all just like ritual, and just there's no room to to worship basically. So.
Well, you got to be a God-fearing man if you want to be Catholic. Them's the rules, man.
What's that again?
I said you got to be a God-fearing man if you want to be a Catholic. Them's the rules.
Yeah, that's rules. No flexibility. It's all rigid.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes the issue with that too is that in some situations it dissuades people from like investigating things themselves. It's more like of an extrinsic focus, like I'm going to show up and the priest is going to do this thing, and then we're all going to say this thing, and then we're going to go home. Whereas it really, at least as I see it, is religion should be something that makes you a more profound person, and as a tool to investigate reality, and not just like something you just show up at, and like, oh, I'm saved because I'm part of this group and I showed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I discovered. Yeah, go ahead, Nathan.
I was just going to say that the whole point of any spiritual practice is that it's an internal process. And one of the big troubles that comes with religions in general, all of them really, is that like you said, it's extrinsic. It's an external thing that you do. But for so many people, the vast majority of people, when they participate in a religion, they're purely performing external acts and then saying that all is well and all's good in the neighborhood because I did the thing. I ate the little wafer, I drank the juice, so I'm good.
It's cool. Almost like who are you worshiping for? You or the other people around you? Like,
right, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, that's the big pitfall with so many religions. And it's like I see that being a pitfall. That actually leads me to a question for you, actually. Do you think that you see a danger of it sort of falling into that over some period of time? Do you feel like it's designed to prevent that, or do you think that's sort of an inevitable thing that's going to happen with any spiritual practice? Like, what are your thoughts on that topic?
I think there are more explicit writings to dissuade that sort of thing. Like it's very explicit text not to like another example is there's like some writings on music in the Bahai writings, and it's very clear that there's not like a Bahai form of music. Like, we don't call this one type of music Bahai music. So there's a lot of examples like that where it's really, and with the marriage ceremony too, there's points in some of the guidance in the Bahai writings that's like very clear not to get dogmatic. Now, people are people. I can't say what's for sure going to happen in the future, but I think that at least there are there. And another thing too, like in the Bahai faith, there's no clergy, so there's no priests or anything. So that helps to kind of take away from that, like, oh, I showed up and the priest did this thing, and so we're all good. It's up to the individual to investigate the truth for themselves, rather than to just be like, oh yeah, the priest or the mullah or whoever said this, so that's right.
It seems like a very thoughtful practice. Seems like very
So I guess you guys have like a temple or someplace that you guys worship, right? Is it?
There are Baha'i houses of worship, we call them, or basically temples. There's a handful throughout the world, but most things happen in a very decentralized fashion and basically in people's homes. Some cities, like I was in Houston before I came here, and there was a Baha'i center for the city, just a building basically. But it's a the focus in how we approach things currently in the faith is very decentralized, and trying to like reach out, not just what's Baha'is, but like in building up like neighborhoods, like having devotionals and children's classes and things like that, and in the neighborhoods with the local people.
Gotcha. Wow. And like when you're at the place that you guys are worshiping, is it kind of similar in the sense that you go in there and there's like the leader who preaches, or is that normally how it goes for you guys when you go in there? Or?
So I've been to the house of worship in India, and most of the time there, the way they do it is it's basically you're just silent when you're inside, and then occasionally they'll have like a group of people come up, and just like 10 people will stand up and then come to the stage area and a microphone or whatever, and then they'll just say some prayers, and then they'll have that'll be it. Because the idea of the houses of worship, at least, is that's kind of a specific thing. Is that it's to be open to people of all religions, and it's supposed to be a place of reflection. So that's not the place where you would get a talk. Now, there are situations where there's like a Bahai talk, and like there'll be a speaker on a subject. So there are people. They're not seen as. There's no clergy. So any one individual is not any higher than any other. Even people who are institutions, but even a member of an institution is not seen as higher than anyone else in the community.
Interesting.
So is there like in Christianity they stress prayer, in other practices they would stress meditation. Is there a practice of that kind that is purported in Bahai? Do they talk about prayer or meditation or both, or
Yes, and it's they're kind of both. It's not like a hard and fast set thing, but they're both kind of emphasized. There are Baha'i prayers that are revealed by Baha'u'llah and other figures within the faith. We have those. It's really encouraged a lot to reflect, like where you read something and then you take time to reflect upon its meaning and its application. And then meditation is generally also emphasized, but there's not like a specific form of meditation. It's said basically there's not a Baha'i form of meditation. It's left up to the individual to choose whatever form they think is best.
Wow.
It's a very flexible environment.
Extremely flexible, yeah. I feel like that's unlike any other traditional worship that I've ever come across or been a part of.
Yeah,
very different. I like it generally.
So Baha'u'llah, I'm saying that right? Baha'u'llah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you've sort of talked about how Baha'u'llah is sort of the latest in a line of people who reached a certain state that were inspired by the same God: Krishna, Buddha, Christ, Muhammad, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds to me like a certain level of enlightenment that Baha'u'llah achieved that was similar to that of Christ, with the Christ consciousness, with Buddha, with the self-realization, with whatever, and we have all these different names for it. Is that sort of the same line of thinking that Baha'u'llah has followed? That sort of like like he reached the ultimate form of enlightenment? Is that sort of the same vein of thinking with this?
Yeah, I mean, the way it's described in the Baha'i writings is the term we use is a manifestation of God. So they're basically like a perfect human being, and they have the ability, they have a connection with God in such that they're able to reveal like the teachings of God and the messages. Like they're able to speak on behalf of God, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so so that it's not necessarily that like it's a state that like you or I, if we got enlightened, we could also be a manifestation of God. Like it's seen as a separate individual that's kind of chosen for that purpose or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, that was going to be the next question. This is the kind of thing that, like, because I know in certain yogic practices they talk about certain people who can achieve a level of oneness with God, so that they're basically fully God realized in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that was sort of the thing I was curious about, if they, if in Baha'i they talk about a similar set of ideas that they would in yoga and Kriya yoga and things like that. But it sounds like that would also be perfectly welcome in this whole practice.
Yeah, so I think the way that one can achieve a higher state of consciousness through spiritual practice. Terminology might be a little different, but I think a key idea is that one individual among the Baha'is can't rise up and say, "Oh, I speak on behalf of God, so this is like revelation," right? Like that's not something that is like at the end of his dispensation or his book of laws, Baha'u'llah says there's not going to be another manifestation of God for at least 1,000 years. So, what I guess the idea there is that you don't want a lot of people coming up and saying, well, I'm the messenger. And then, because it actually happened a lot during this time. So in the time of the Bab, who came before Baha'u'llah, and in the time of Baha'u'llah as well, there was an expectation that a certain figure would arise within Islam who would be the one to bring this message. And a lot of people claim to be that person, right? So then you have all these conflicting claims. Well, I'm the Qayyam, they called it, right? The chosen Qayyam. And so there's like, well, I'm it. No, and then someone else over here is saying, well, I'm the Qayyam. So then you have all this competing, like, people trying to vie for followers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense because I'm reading a book called Zealot, or at least I put it down for a while, but it talks about how in Jerusalem there, or was it, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong city, but in the Middle East there in Israel, there was a whole line of messiahs, and all of them were claiming to be the one to take down Rome. And so they were all competing. They had their different sects of messiahism or whatever it was at that time period, at year 20 or whatever it was. Yeah, so that makes sense that you'd want to make that a very exclusive thing to make sure that if it's actually the fully God realized dude, we got to make sure we get it right.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting too because there's very specific. So Baha'u'llah in his will, when he passed, he made it clear that the next leader of the faith was his son Abdul Baha, and then after that, at this point in time, we have an elected institution called the Universal House of Justice, and so there's a lot of emphasis on maintaining the unity of the faith by making sure it doesn't divide into schisms. Right, so it's very explicitly said that after Baha'u'llah's passing, Abdul Baha we called him the center of the covenant, which he was like the leader of the faith. And then after him, there was there were two institutions that kind of worked together. It's a long story, but basically at this point in time, we have this elected institution called the Universal House of Justice, and so there's no like sects within the Baha'i faith. There's not like like these Baha'is over here believe this and these Baha'is over there believe that. But there's been a lot of emphasis on maintaining the unity within the Baha'i faith. So it doesn't, because it's been very problematic in Christianity, Islam, where you see these sects warring against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely discourage that from occurring, at least. I like everything about this so far.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like springing up all these new questions as you keep talking. So, I'm very curious about this.
I feel like I'm just loving this. I'm just over here absorbing. This is good.
Yeah, it's funny, Vernon. You normally
You've
do a
been
lot
very
of
quiet, Vernon. You're not normally very quiet.
I know. I'm seriously just absorbing this. This is great. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I found out about this in college. I was raised Methodist actually, and but I just developed an interest in other religions. I was really into Buddhism, and got interested in other Eastern religions, and I found a lot of useful stuff just from reading that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I can't just be like, I just see validity in this other stuff. And so I kind of got disillusioned with organized religion for a while. And when I discovered the Baha'i faith, I had no interest in becoming a Baha'i. I was like, yeah, this is cool, but I don't like organized religion. But eventually it all just kind of crystallized for me into something that was meaningful.
Yeah, I absolutely think it's seems like a very accepting, open-ended religion for pretty much anybody. Anybody could kind of come along and find something in that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's designed to be able to meet people at a lot of different levels.
Yeah.
There's very like mystical stuff, but there's also very like practical stuff. It deals with things as far as like economics and administrative stuff, and it goes into very deep mystical stuff and everything in between.
So like, so like in Christianity, because I was raised in a Baptist church, so I feel like you sort of described a similar thing that I sort of have gone through as well. Where like I had like I read the Yogananda's book about the autobiography of a yogi, and looked at some of the Indian gurus and the guys who are talking about mysticism and self-realization and all that kind of stuff. But so like in Christianity, there's a very clear-cut goal, which is to become more Christ-like. Now it's clear-cut and vague at the same time, but that's like the main aim of that. In other religions, you have like a set of rules that you follow that makes you a part of that religion. So like there's ways that you behave in Christianity that make you a Christian, I guess you could say. So like, is there a thing in Baha'i, like, what exactly would make someone a member of the Baha'i church versus not being a member of the Baha'i church, or is it not really a matter of membership in the first place?
I mean, I guess if you want to make a distinction, like right now, the main focus of the Baha'is is to work on community development and trying to work with like-minded people, regardless of whether they identify themselves as Baha'i or not. But there is, if you do identify yourself as a Baha'i, I think the key concept is that you recognize Baha'u'llah as a manifestation of God. And that you recognize also that there's this administrative order, this continuity of authority with it that was, put in place, and you kind of recognize that's there. And so that would be like if you want a binary, like, yes, I'm a Baha'i, or no, I'm not, that would probably be it.
So there's still like a sort of core set of, would you say that it's beliefs, or more so just saying, I'm gonna just follow this, and these are the things that I would need to do to follow this, and so I'm just gonna do that? Would you say that you have to like choose to believe certain things, or is it more just like accepting the rules of the organization, I guess?
I mean, I guess, being a Baha'i would be that it's probably like a spectrum, really, but the way I look at it is, if you really believe that Baha'u'llah is a divine messenger and he's speaking with the voice of God, then the next thing to do is to study his writings and then try to apply them in your life. I mean, there are things like there's an obligatory prayer. There are actually 3 of them. You can choose any one of the 3 to say that you're supposed to say every day. You're supposed to read the writings and reflect on them in the morning and the evening. The Baha'is don't drink alcohol or gamble. So there's certain like laws and things like that as well. But I think the most important thing is that you try to understand these teachings and you try to embody them and put them into practice.
Nice. Cool. Now I'm going to take my break. I'll be right back.
Nathan's like, and I'm going to go. Hang on.
And pee break. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, man. I gotta say thank you for coming on, John. It's been a good conversation so far.
Oh, I love these I could talk about this stuff all day. Yeah, I'm just happy to find like-minded people, because it's kind of few and far in between that you find people that really want to dive deep into these kind of subjects.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like we get into mysticism and sort of some sort of religious talk almost every episode at this point. At some point, it becomes a point of focus. Usually it's Nathan brings upon some sort of wisdom or knowledge he's gained while watching like Sadhguru videos. And those are good. They're good, man. They're really good stuff. So it's like I've appreciated a lot of the knowledge that he's dropped in here, and so same to you. I've appreciated a lot of the knowledge you kind of brought in here on the subject. It's very nice, refreshing. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah.
As Nathan had mentioned earlier, it's kind of ironic. We were just like bringing in the whole topic of the spirituality aspects, and
it was like a strange, like Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. Like it was really,
right?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
You never know, man. You never know.
I'm back.
yeah. So one thing I didn't mention, John is actually a musician as well. He's been recording some stuff. So to go a little off topic here, but
what kind of music do you make, John? What's the foray?
That's on topic, by the way. We are a music group doing a podcast, so music.
Yeah, I think that's so relevant, right?
Yeah.
We can talk about. Yes, go ahead, John.
I mean, I guess the most stuff I do is just me and my acoustic guitar, singer songwriter kind of stuff. Yeah, I got a friend back in the Houston area who we've been working on some stuff, and that's kind of different sounds. We have like one song we're working on right now. It's kind of a real 90s alternative kind of sounding song. And lately I'm trying to get into working some more electronic kind of sounds too. I just got like Mixcraft, DAW, and I got a MIDI keyboard and an audio interface. So I'm trying to play around and work on my music theory and come up with, just try to come up with something new. I get a little tired of the singer-songwriter stuff after a while, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I
Fair
understand.
enough.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, people
that's
get,
super cool.
people get tired. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You first.
I was going to say people get very tired of the mundane thing that they've been doing. Not that singer-songwriter stuff is mundane, but like if you do if that's all you do, it becomes mundane. Yeah, it's sort of natural for a musician or an artist to at some point want to do something very different.
That's actually it even happens to us, even with like the crazy stuff that happens in metal with the stuff that you can play there. We're just like, yeah, let's do a song that's way heavier than anything we've ever done before. Let's do something that's
Yes.
way softer than anything we've ever done before. Like, because there's always like some box to crawl out of. You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not get out of there?
Yeah. So I've kind of like put myself in a position where it's like, oh crap, I've got all these huge learning curves now because like I got to learn how to produce. I got to learn how to like work on my music theory. I want to touch up on my voice, but it's actually part of me is like, oh crap, that's a lot of stuff to do. But then the other part of me is like, well, that's great to have all that stuff to do, you know?
You'll never be bored, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's a ton of really good resources out there specifically for like producing and mixing too. And that's like what I've found because I'm terrible at mixing and producing myself. Like that's straight up like my worst and least favorite thing to do. Even though like I do so much of it because I write a lot of demos and like send to these guys, but I hate doing it. It's not enjoyable work. That's why Will's employed. He gets money from us because I hate doing that. So it's like I've tried to look stuff up and find out as much as I can out there, but it's a ton of information that you gotta really dive into.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can spend a lifetime.
Yeah,
you know, like
literally,
people are good at
yeah.
it, probably have been doing it. You know, you got to put in your 10,000 hours. I think
Right.
you got to be really good.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool, man. You have to send us your stuff so we can check it out and plug you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I'm never happy with what I have, but I think I got a couple things on Reverb Nation. Maybe I'll
Sure.
I'll put
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
You
definitely
got a
check that,
good voice, man. I enjoyed listening to that one song you showed. So
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that one's still kind of rough. I was just talking to my friend. I was like, yeah, okay, we're gonna redo that vocals, but but thanks.
Yeah.
well, we're always hardest on ourselves.
That's
So yeah,
true.
that's really how it
It's
goes.
true.
Yeah. I was gonna say the music theory thing is a really cool thing to look into too, because it's like you may not end up using all the stuff that you learn, but it's nice to have the tools there. You know, it's just like increasing the size of your toolbox, and then you can say, oh man, I want this song to have this cool effect, and then you can say, oh wait, well I can do this certain kind of chord progression, and that'll do exactly the thing that I need it to do. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I feel like
definitely
it's like you got a Lego kit and you get a bunch of cool new Legos, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
yeah.
And with
Exactly.
music, it's
Yeah.
like you have that Lego kit and all those Legos, but you lost the book to build something with it. That's
Yeah,
that's what
that's
music
it,
is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating because like I listen to something.
Just put all these random parts together and hope for the best.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
probably how theory was created.
Yeah. That's how we ended up with the what is it? The tempered scale, right? That's the well-tempered scale. How else would we get there? With just people throwing stuff together?
Yeah.
That's normally how I do it. I just throw stuff together. So
Yeah, it just like
Or-
over hundreds of years, things just conglomerated, and then we have 12 tones. Whoa, hey, look at that!
Look at this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
what was
There's actually
the
a story. There's actually a story of how we ended up with an even tempered scale. Like that, there's an actual method to it, or kind of.
I mean,
So like originally,
is it a
what
method, or
happened
like I
was-
said, didn't it just kind of like a bunch of people along the way just keep messing with it? Wasn't that the thing?
No, well, yes and no.
All right, so I got part of the story right.
You did. So like it started out, at least as far as Western music goes, a lot of it was sort of rooted in like ancient chant, like Gregorian chant and stuff. Now there's music before that too, but like sort of the official systematized music theory that we had started out very much in the sacred music that we had. And so you had these, like when they first started writing music, it was just to write out the vocal contours of hymns and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And so that's sort of how notation began. And then they talked about modes, and that was sort of the first thing. So that's where you talked about like the Ionian mode, the Mixolydian mode, Dorian mode. They would be these different scales that gave different moods that matched up with the various moods of the cantation or the hymn or chant or whatever it is thing that they were writing, and that crystallized over time. And then you got later on, and you had this very strict system of writing music. Like this is before having an even tempered 12-tone scale, by the way. This is so what you would have is like these ratios would kind of manifest in a natural way, because like the way that sound waves combine with each other would sort of determine these ratios that people determine to be more consonant, more pleasant, whatever. And so that you have this sort of natural ratio that occurs with sound waves and things, and that's sort of how our scales came to be. Now, the problem was if you had a keyboard, because eventually, we had keyboards, harpsichords, and things like that. If you tuned something to be something like C major, but then you had to suddenly change to be an E flat major or something, well, the way that those ratios lined up wasn't quite right, the way that we have on a regular keyboard, right? So you would actually have to sit and like retune the harpsichord or the piano, or they didn't have pianos yet. It was the harpsichord or whatever instrument you had. You had to completely retune it if you played in a different key. So a lot of that complex multi-key kind of music was generally vocal, because you don't have to tune your vocal cords. So if you have a piece of music that switches between different keys, which is very regular, especially later on, it wasn't quite possible. So what happened was that I'm pretty sure it was Bach who did this, the even tempered scale. He figured out a way so that you could, because he wrote complex music in the Baroque era. It was very complex music with key shifts and modulations and things where you would borrow a chord from a different key for this key so that it would give a bit juicier effect to this key or whatever.
So you would say that Bach did not believe that if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it.
That was pretty good.
Go on.
Hold on, Vernon. I've got something here. Just
What's in there?
you.
What's in there, bud? What do you have for me? What is it?
What is in there?
Is
oh
it
my God!
Oh, it's exactly what I wanted.
I appreciated that. That was great. I love bad puns.
Thank you. So,
well, Nathan's full of them.
Full of something, man. So basically, Bach was like, you know what? I want to switch keys. This is bullshit. So I'm just going to make a new system, and it's going to work. And so he figured out, so if I figure it out so that every time you go up a note, it's the same interval every time. That means some of the natural ratios, you're going to sort of bend it into the shape a little bit, But that's basically how the 12-tone system came to be. And I'm like 95% sure it was Bach that did that, which is one of the reasons he's like the guy that you study in music school or whatever. But
sense.
Also he was like the master of like polyphonic, fugal, counterpoint, and all that kind of stuff.
So did he design the keyboard too then? Was he the one who, did he come with a layout for the keyboard when he figured out those tones? Because there's like the racial relationship between the black and white keys.
Well, they had the harpsichord already, and basically you would tune the strings to be whatever you needed it to be or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And then, then basically he just figured out how to tune the harpsichord so that you didn't have to do that every time you switched, and then you could just keep it the same. And then
were they already at 437 at this point, or?
What's that?
For middle C, or sorry, A at middle of the keyword. Where were they at this point in time? Do you know? Was it like further back, still off of like 437, 440, somewhere in there?
I don't know. It turned into 440 eventually.
Yeah, the 440 thing is because of indoor singing and concert halls getting smaller while they didn't have microphones at the time, and so it reverberated better is the understanding, I think, generally now.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what people have grown to accept, I guess, as being the reasoning. Because like the whole 437 thing was just like when you tuned a whole band to 437, and then you also had vocalists who were trying to sing over top of that. They had to go up, and so vocalists went up to 440 so that they would get over top of everything. And so the band was like, well, we'll go to 440 too.
Yeah. If you're an ensemble, you're playing with a soloist, you have to go to the soloist basically in order.
Yeah, and so that's what would happen over time. And so if I remember correctly, it was way off of 437 even for a time, like 430, 420 something, and it's like slowly became.
For some reason, if it sits naturally, I think there's a whole movement of people who are like, was it 436 or 432? Like
Yeah. There's like a
slightly
whole
lower
like
hertz.
it's a thing for some reason. Like people like hate the idea of going to 440. They're like, no, we have to go back because that was the actual even tempered scale.
Well, and they say that it like fits. It sits better. It just sounds better. It's like more resonant or so.
Yeah.
It just
It's such a
resonates with them
strange
better.
argument, but whatever.
I wonder if they just like built up the idea of it so much in their head that they just feel that it's better because they're like, oh, I tuned it that way and I believe this thing about music, and so now I feel better because of it.
I mean, that's
You know?
mostly what musicians do. So
That sounds like a real hipster thing to do, right? Like, oh, I've got my guitar tuned to 436
Yeah.
because it's like, the real middle C. Yeah.
Am I the only musician who doesn't know what 436 or fourth? I'm
so
kind of lost.
440
right now.
is the hertz at which I believe it's A at the A under middle C or yeah, A under middle C on a keyboard is tuned to generally 440 hertz.
Yeah, 440 is the standard tuning for an A on a keyboard.
Yeah.
Whichever A that is, I forget which.
I think it's the A under middle C, isn't it? Or is it the A above middle C? It's one or the other. I can't remember.
Above. I think
Above.
I think
A
it's
above middle
but
C. Yeah. Yeah, there
it's
it
the
is.
one. So in oral skills class, we had to learn how to like a tuning fork is
Yeah.
tuned to that A 440. That's like the standard thing. And so in oral skills, every morning, the first thing we did was sing an A, and that was the first thing we did without any prompting, without any. He wouldn't hit the keyboard. He wouldn't do anything. We would sit down. No, it's la. I think that's about what an A is. Someone
I
have an
love that
instrument
it's
they
still in you. You're just like it's down in you.
Brain.
Every
I
day,
don't know.
you just say, sing an A, and we go, la, and then you go, bing, oh, you're a little flat today, you know?
That's really
Yeah,
funny.
440. Yeah, man.
A miserable class.
Music teachers finding the way to attrition out anybody that's actually tone deaf.
True.
Weed them out.
You're out of here.
There used to be this ad in Guitar Magazine for how to become perfect pitch, like in the 90s. Like it was always in every guitar magazine for a while. It was like, you can get perfect pitch if you take this course. And I never felt like
Yeah, they don't include all the stipulations like, and you start at 6 years old, and you have a trained musician above you while you do it. Like,
Yeah, that sounds a lot like the kind of advertisement you'd see for like a cult.
kind of. Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna get you there if you pay us, and you, you know what I mean?
There was like legitimately a study done on this, I believe, a few years ago that said that they believe that children might be malleable enough in their adolescence, like really young. They have to be like really young kids. You get them invested in music well enough, and you can train perfect pitch to a certain degree. But perfect pitch can be trained incorrectly too. So if you have like an untuned piano or an untuned guitar that you're like trying to teach somebody with, and it's not tuned, they could be tuned to perfect pitch on the wrong note, basically.
Oh wow, all that
And that's
effort
what they
for
believe
nothing.
most people have. And that's why most people aren't musicians, is because they're just a little off. Because like you were sung to as a kid, you know what I mean? Or you listened to music as a child, but nobody taught you it. You just heard it. You're just repeating the noises back kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because when you're very, very young, you're learning your language. I mean, that's where you absorb your language.
Yeah. And
You're
language,
English
our
syntax.
languages generally don't require music to speak them.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'm sure in whatever languages are out there, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I know there are some like ancient languages that were generally only sung or that had rhythmic things built into them, rhythmic components that are built into them. Their music was very much like their speaking, which is it's interesting to note. You know, kind of cool.
It's too bad the English language isn't that way.
Right. Yeah, I know. It'd be fun, right? We'd have a good time.
Yeah, I don't know if I could take that.
It's like you have to sing it in like depending on your mood, you have to sing it in a minor tone or a major tone.
Good
I'm in a Phrygian mood right now.
Oh shoot!
It's
That's
funny
great.
because what you said, Vern. Because if you listen to like something like Ravel, who's a French composer from like the 18 something, you listen to it, and then you listen to someone speaking French, and you're like, oh yeah, I can see the connection with that.
Yeah.
And then you listen to something by like Wagner, from the late 1800s Austria or whatever,
Right.
and then you listen to someone speaking German, and you're like, "Yep, bratwursts, I got that. That makes sense."
Yeah, one of the ones that was pointed out to me at some point was look at the way metal progressed over time, right? Which is like early metal didn't have a lot of screaming vocals, but it's like the music almost anticipated where vocalists were going to go with the art. You know what I mean? Like the art form already knew where it was headed before it ever really got off the ground. It's kind of cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like the music was asking for that to be the next thing.
Yeah. It was like a almost. It's almost destined for it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
It sounds like a Jack Black movie.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds like the kind of movie that Jack Black.
We
would
need to
make
send
about.
this idea to Jack Black and see if he'll make Tenacious D2. Just this.
Tenacious D screams.
That'd be great. We should ask them to come on. I bet you we could probably get Kyle Gass to show up for the Once Revealed Variety Hour.
That would be so awesome.
I bet we could get that. I don't know if we can pull Jack Black, but I bet we can get Kyle Gass to come on.
Get the B lister.
I don't know if he's a B-lister. He still ate us, buddy.
True story. We're like at M or something at this point. We're working our way up. One day we'll get to J.
We're down in the queues, man. We haven't played a show in a year and a half.
Oh shit, you're right. This podcast is more famous than our shows right now.
That's true. That's true. There have been more of them too, I think, at this point than shows.
Yeah.
We're at 27 podcasts. Scott's like, I've been counting.
Every single fucking one.
We're at 27 episodes now. This is the 27th. We're coming up on an hour and a half, boys. That's where we said I think we were going to cut it this week. This has been a great extended podcast with you, John. You came in early, and we were expecting to go late anyway, and we ran late anyway, just chatting with you. Yeah, so it was good. That was good. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me. Yeah, it was great talk.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Thanks for coming along, man. It was good.
Yeah.
Good talk.
So I guess we're wrapping it up then. Is that what's happening here?
I think we're getting there. Yeah. Yeah. Did anybody have anything to add? Cool. Good stuff. That's good. You guys just
Guess not.
Oh man. All right. Well, join us next week where we figure out where Penguins got those cool ass tuxedos. Thank you all for being so well dressed. We've been Once Revealed.